What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So Michigan State basketball versus Purdue, 7 o'clock on Tuesday night in the Breslin Center. Also on Peacock if you are watching from home. Top 15 matchup, 14 Michigan State versus 12 Purdue. Two teams that are top 3 in the Big Ten right now and still very much in the Big Ten regular season race. Now, this is the first of 5 of the last 6 games for Michigan State that include a top 20 ranked team for Michigan State here down the stretch. Now, Purdue comes in 19-7, 11-4 in the Big Ten, coming in off of back-to-back losses. One down the road at Michigan last week, and then one against Wisconsin at home on Saturday. Michigan State coming in 2-3 in their last 5, but within those last 5 games, 2-1 in the last 3 after you drop 2 in a row on the West Coast in the LA trip, and then getting it right against Oregon last Saturday, unfortunately losing to Indiana last Tuesday, but then coming out with a big time win and performance at Illinois on Saturday, which also gave Coach Izzo the all-time Big Ten win record. And Illinois, in my opinion, still has one of the 3 or so best rosters in the conference. So this is a big pivotal game for both teams and for the landscape of what the Big Ten will look like here at the end of the regular season. But before we do jump into the matchup, if you could, hit that like and subscribe button down there. More Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a video. Now, Purdue, in my opinion, is led by in my opinion, he is the best point guard in the country, best player in the Big Ten. In my opinion, Breslin Smith comes in averaging 16 points, about 9 assists, 5 rebounds, a little over 2 steals a game, 39% from 3 as well. He makes everything go for Purdue. Stirs the drink whatsoever, whatever analogy you want to use, and was the main reason outside of Zach Edey last year that this team was in the national title game 10 months ago. Now, Trey Kaufman-Renn has been incredible all year for them as well. One of the best players in the conference, averaging 19.4 points per game, which is top 3 in the conference, 6 rebounds, shooting 61% from the field. More on that here in a minute. Fletcher Loyer, obviously Foster Loyer's brother. Michigan State fans, we're all familiar with the Loyer family here, but Fletcher this year adds 14 points on 45% shooting from 3. Incredible shooter for his career on the year. They play about 8 to 9 guys consistently, but those are the 3 main guys that kind of determine everything for how this team goes. And obviously it's gone pretty well. Like, yes, there's, everyone makes the jokes about like Purdue is literally playing 3-on-5, but literally they are one of the 3 best teams in the conference, one of the best teams in the country, top 15 teams in the country for a reason. And yes, they mainly rely on these 3 guys, but those 3 guys are the main focal points. Some other guys to look at, though, watch out for CJ Cox, adds about 7 points per game on 42% shooting from 3. Caleb First, been around a while, adds about 5 points and 4 boards on the year as well. Leads them in blocks, but only about 0.3. They don't really have a super rim protector who's going to block a lot of shots like in years past. Purdue as a team averages about 79 points per game, leads the conference in field goal percentage at about 49%, which is obviously why you see these 3-point percentages. You see Trey Kaufman-Renn shooting 61% from the field, which leads to them leading the conference in field goal percentage. 15th in the country in effective field goal percentage, so really impressive overall shooting the ball. Only 33 rebounds a game, which is 15th in the conference, 305th in the country. So this is a game that Michigan State on the year has been really solid, rebounding the ball. This is another game that they should hopefully be able to win the rebounding battle in this one. Purdue is top 4 in assists at about 17 assists per game. In the conference, should I say, but a lot of that is obviously Breslin Smith. Second in the conference in 3-point percentage at about 38%, which 27th in the country in that category. Middle of the pack in the country, 154th in terms of 3-point field goals per game, with about 8 3-point field goals per game. And Purdue isn't really going to get out and run much. 252nd in the country in fast break points, at about 8-9 fast break points a game, and are 261st in the country in tempo. Michigan State in that category in terms of fast break points per game has been 1 or 2 all year, but over the last couple has dropped down a little bit, down to 6th in the country at about 17 fast break points per game. Defenses against Michigan State has been able to keep them off the break, so that's something Michigan State will want to get back to here in this game and the remainder of this regular season as a whole, tournament run, Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, get back into running the basketball here for Michigan State, getting out on the break. Purdue doesn't turn the ball over much, only around 11 turnovers a game. They force about 13 a game. For Michigan State, we talked about it in the Illinois recap. In my opinion, what a successful game plan matchup looks like this year, kind of the Illinois result, as we said. Keep the turnovers as low as possible. We always talk about between 8 to 12. I believe that Illinois game, Michigan State fell at about 7. Don't shoot a bunch of threes. We've seen the large enough sample size that, this team has good three-point shooters, gets good looks, has got good looks all year, even when they were projected to be a good three-point shooting team. And now, given their percentages, can get even better three-point looks. They just haven't fallen down, though. You don't want to look at Illinois last game. Finished, 7 for 33? We don't want that. Michigan State doesn't want that. Not jacking up a lot of threes. Get into the paint, defend like crazy. That's what it's going to take in this game, and that's a successful, recipe for success for Michigan State this year. And this is a big game, in my opinion, for the guards, defending both Braden and Fletch in this game. Looking at Jeremy Fears, looking at Trey Holloman, Jaden Akins, and Jace Richardson. It's going to be a collective group effort to try to slow those two down, to the best guards in the conference. And I think MSU probably goes with Jackson Kohler on Trey Kaufman-Renn, probably Coop off the bench as well. Could see some Zapala on him as well, but I'm curious how they attack that matchup. And then you probably, which it always seems like this is kind of the game plan against Purdue. It was always a game plan when they had a Zach Edey or Matt Harms, a big 7-foot, plus monster in the paint. And I think you still kind of go with a similar game plan here. You might change who the game plan is directed at. The game plan against those 7-foot monsters was always let them do their thing. We saw that with Zach Edey at the Breslin Center. I think that was 2 years ago on Martin Luther King Day, where he finished with 34 and 18 rebounds or something ridiculous. But Michigan State was, for most of the game, able to shut everyone off. But Fletcher Lawyer in that game, if I remember correctly, had a good close to that one, had a couple baskets, hit a couple clutch free throws for them. That's why Michigan State lost the game by 1 that year, if I do remember correctly. But I think, in my opinion, a similar type of game plan. Like I said, usually the way this goes, try to shut the water off of everyone else, and then just let one guy do their thing. Who is it going to be? Obviously, Braden Smith is the best player, but Trey Kaufman-Renn has been incredible all year long. Fletcher Lawyer can get hot from 3. But in my opinion, I'm letting TKR do his thing and trying your best to shut off Braden and Fletch in this one. And in my opinion, I'm only saying this because of the amount of bodies and defenders that Michigan State can throw at those guys in terms of guard defenders. We already talked about it. Jeremy Fears, Trey Holloman, Jaden Akins, Jace Richardson. Having 4 guys to throw at those 2 guys, majority of the time, more than likely, switching out, keeping everyone fresh, hopefully just showing them a lot of different bodies, a lot of different looks throughout the game. Hopefully try to shut the water off for the most part. As I said, Braden Smith is the best player in the Big Ten, best point guard in the country. You're not going to slow him down completely, but try to minimize them, try to make Fletch inefficient in this one. And the way this usually plays out is, if you're letting one player dominate in this one, kind of shrinks the game as everything else gets harder for everyone else on the court. So a lower scoring game, I think, can be expected. And for Michigan State, got to be efficient with your scoring. You can't have those low 30s, low 40% shooting nights from the field to win this game. And for Michigan State, Purdue doesn't have a dominant shot blocker like in years past to keep you out of the paint. So attack the paint. Try to get back to running in transition. Going to need to be efficient and hit a couple of threes as well. Similar, like we said, to the Illinois game. If Michigan State can hit 4 to 7 threes on efficient shooting, say, say you go 5 for 14, 15. I think that's a solid night for Michigan State. Statistically, that's a solid night for Michigan State, given their averages on the year. In my opinion, that is a recipe for success, and then just dominating the paint. Guards, wings, getting into the paint. Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, Simone Zapala, getting putback dunks or lob opportunities towards the basket, and scoring in the paint. I think that's the best recipe for success here for Michigan State. And look, we need Jaden Akins to get more buckets throughout the course of the game. And, last time out, he did struggle a little bit, definitely in the first half. In the second half versus Illinois, he was able to get some buckets to go. And really, that's what he's done all year at times when Michigan State needs a basket and, to kind of steady the waters, maybe the other team's making a run or kind of maybe both teams, we've seen at times are kind of, both missing shots. Jaden Akins has been able to calm things down, get to the basket, get a tough finish, or come off a little pin down, curl screen, get to the elbow, get to the free throw line, get to the back part of the paint and knock down a shot. We're going to need more of that. And as we said, he's one of the guys throughout the team, historically, career, good three-point shooter. Going to need him to knock down a couple in this one in order for Michigan State to win. And I'm looking at Jackson Kohler, obviously coming off a career game, 23 and 10, another double-double. Needs to take advantage in the post. And him trying to pick and choose his matchups, if Michigan State can manipulate that in the post, if he can get Caleb First on him, who is a decent defender for Purdue. But I want that matchup for Jackson Kohler, in my opinion, over Trey Kaufman-Renn. With Caleb First, you got a similar height. Jack's a little bit bigger, though, can hopefully maybe put a shoulder into him, get to his post moves, step out, hit a couple of shots, which Caleb First is mobile outside. So I think that will definitely be something to watch to see what that matchup is for Jax. But if Jax can try to pick and choose his matchups, maybe see what's working. Maybe the Caleb First matchup isn't working, and maybe TKR matchup works better. If he can pick and choose, and they can get him in the right spots, then I think that'll be key going forward in this game. And need Jeremy Fierce to be efficient in this one. Struggled last time out at Illinois, but being efficient with his shot and not turning the ball over. I think he had 4 turnovers in that one at Illinois. And really, the bad Jeremy Fierce games are when he's turning the ball over 4+ times a game. If he can keep those turnovers, we've seen him turn the ball over 0 times. If he can stay 0 to 3 somewhere in there as a team, we always talk about 8 to 12 for Michigan State as a team. If Jeremy can stay 0 to 3 and, add 5+ assists, and, if they're going to be playing off of him like they did against Illinois, if he gets a floater, he can average 10+, 12+ points a game because of how they're defending him right now. Obviously, defenses will adjust to that, but if he can get to the lane, get a couple buckets, and he can finish with 8 and 7, be efficient with his shot, not turn the ball over, that would be a huge boost for Michigan State in this one. And we'll love to see Book stretch the floor in this one with his pick and pop action around the perimeter. I thought he actually played decently well. He only played, I think, about 15 or so minutes last time out against Illinois, but did hit a 3. But I thought he played solid in those minutes, even though he only finished with 3 points. Now, Bart Torvik has Purdue as the number 9 team in the country, 10th best adjusted efficiency offense, 34th best adjusted efficiency defense. Michigan State back up to number 20 on Bart Torvik, 32nd in adjusted efficiency offense, 15th in adjusted efficiency defense. So kind of close to mirroring in terms of adjusted efficiency offense and defense for these against these two teams. Obviously, Purdue, as we said, 10th in adjusted efficiency offense. Michigan State, 15th in adjusted efficiency defense. So those clashing, and then adjusted efficiency offense for Michigan State, 32nd versus 34th adjusted efficiency defense from Purdue. So those clashing. So curious how that'll play out. Something's got to give. Obviously, Bart Torvik has this as a 73-72 Michigan State win. So expecting a close, tight one in the Breslin Center on Tuesday night. Always a tight one, especially in the Breslin Center. The last 3 matchups have all been 1-possession games in the Breslin Center. You had the Tyson Walker 3, close to the buzzer. It was like less than, 2 seconds left in that one. That Michigan State won by 3. You had that one, and then you had 2 1-point losses in the Breslin Center. So always a tight one in the Breslin Center. It's expected, projected to be another one on Tuesday night. But Michigan State is 1-9 in their last 10 games against Purdue, which seems insane. Something's got to change, right? I hope so. But Anyway, that'll do it for this one. We'll obviously be back with a recap after the game. So thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.